Good morning, everyone. It's my privilege to introduce the next faculty of the day, Sanjay Vastupal Shah. He is a chartered accountant. He is in continuous practice since 1987. He is a FCA Gold Medalist, fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also associated member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He is a member of American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. He is also CISA qualified USA. He is IFRS certified from ICAI. His outstanding achievements include he was the first in Gujarat and fifth in India in final chartered accountancy in November 1987. He was first in Gujarat and 13th in India in the intermediate examination as well. He was first in Gujarat and third in India in the intermediate CS in December 1986. He has delivered many lectures and contributed many articles at various levels in Chartered Accountants, Branch, Association, Study Circles, NABARD, IIM, and also contributed many articles in the newspaper. He has been a faculty for certificate course on concurrent audit of banks for GST and have delivered more than 100 sessions across the country. With this brief introduction, sir, I welcome you to this session. It would be a privilege for all of us to hear you. Now I request Mission by immediate past chairperson of the Ahmedabad branch to felicitate him with a bouquet and a moment.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Very good morning, friends. Thank you very much, Ahmedabad branch, for organizing, very nice programs, and that's what I was discussing. That now there is a change. That earlier there was a lot of longer sessions. Now there are comparatively smaller sessions, which will give you more and more opportunity to get the best from each of the faculty, and probably the focus can be better also. So again, one more such appreciable initiative for the young member, those who have recently acquired COP, and those who are going to join the practice. Thank you very much, and my all the best wishes. It is in fact a very good, vibrant branch, and I would also like to congratulate for the upcoming inauguration of the new branch of Ahmedabad, which will be a definitely landmark probably for another 50-60 years to come. Yeah. So friends, very good morning, and I think after Pipara sir's session on forensic audit and all that, now like I am supposed to take you back to the best practice office management tools, and which includes the client, retention, working paper, fee negotiation, and documentation and all that. So within the given time of 45 minutes, we'll try to cover the aspects in the broader way. So I thought, it would be, basically the correct idea that we start with, like what are the key stages. If you are going to start the efficient form, like what, the earlier speaker said, that from 0 to 270 employees or the resources, right? So in order to go to that level, we need to have that infrastructure, the practice. Even if you have 5 or if you start with 1 or 2, I believe the practice and the kind of the efforts would remain the same. So it will be very easy to scale up. So basically we divide our session, like one is the finding of a new client. I am very happy that none of you are going to ask how to find a new client. So then comes a tailor a service. The reason why I am mentioning this is that it is very important that let us not only think of the audit. There are many avenues, and you can, depending upon the client, find out which service will suit him. Like internal management, operational, process audit, project finance, income tax, GST, consultancy. So probably what can happen? Many a times, like young people say that everything is full. For us, there is no scope. It is never like that. You can always find that even in a well-established company, because with ever-changing law and ever-changing regulation, always there is a need which will require the more and more professional to get involved. Probably you can always target the areas which are comparatively new or where the amount of the work involved is comparatively higher. So what will happen? it will be easier for you to prove your efficiency and expertise and probably employ your own resources accordingly. So you can decide which service will be required first of all. See, rather than dumping the service, I would suggest you think from the client point of view. You step into the shoes of the client and then decide that what is the service that client will appreciate. Value addition is the most important part. Unless you really add the value, there are only two things. One is the compliance and is the value addition. Compliance, okay, like audit for example. Yes, exact statutory requirement had to be done. Tax audit for example, requirement to be done. So these are all compliance. And second part is the value addition. So what happens that probably if you think that the compliance part is that's comparatively very difficult to get into, a lot of scope is available in the value addition services. It can include even the project analysis, product analysis, market kind of the tactics, and you will be aware that many of the large corporates of India, like I can give you the name also, like probably I was told Hindustan Lever or even many other corporates, they are recruiting the chartered accountants for marketing purpose. So the whole idea is that once you have acquired the degree, it means you have a knowledge, a capacity to analyze, and you have that intelligence. Now how to use that intelligence, how to get into that second level will depend on how you are getting exposure. Who is going to build you, who is going to train you. If you are going to the job, corporates have their own well-defined way of training you. If you go to the practice part, you have to develop it on your own and find out that which is your core competency, where you can deliver the best, faster, in an efficient manner, and then accordingly you can decide and suggest a service. Then probably you need to agree on the fee and engagement, the scope of the services. Please make sure that you clarify what are the detailed procedures that are going to be performed. Because in the initial stage, please be very clear. There should be no unclarity. Client would expect that you will be doing, let's say, 100% of this thing, and you are thinking that I will employ some sampling. Please be clear. Put it on the paper in the engagement letter that what is going to be your scope. You can always say if required, you can increase the volume and all that. And also you can keep the things open from the remuneration point of view also. Then probably then deliver the document which will define the scope, deliverables. It is very important that what is expected from your engagement or assignment. Like if you are doing statutory audit, ultimately the audit report as per the format or as may be required by the law. Similarly, if you are going to do any other assignment, what will be the ultimate output? When can client expect? What value additions? During what time period? Correct? So that will be helpful to you. Then probably you can gather the information accordingly. You can plan your working paper, then get the engagement letter, communication, feedback. So basically there are 5 topics which have been given. I would compliment that these are the very well designed. So we'll take like 10 minutes for each of the session. One is the engagement life cycle. It begins with the letter. Initially we saw in the preamble that you define the services, you find out and then you agree for example, then it is time to document. Engagement it is a very crucial document. Not only for your purpose, between you and client for any of the clarity, secondly for any of the peer review, quality review or any of the in an unlikely event of any investigation. This is the only document which will lay down that what was the understanding, when you started the work and what was the scope and what was the expectation. So what documents, what resources you are going to do, everything will depend on the engagement letter. So it is mandatory to have the engagement letter and nothing wrong, you can make it as detailed as you can or you can also include timeline, deliverable and all that. And friends, for your ease of practice, our institute has also given you the utility, which is on Excel as well as the Word utility for drafting the engagement letter. So just think that your audit report format is also clear. Mostly you have to only change maybe few words and something like that. Similarly, for engagement letter also you have a very clear cut format, or the utility. You just simply put the name of the client, assignment, some few fill in the blanks, and a standard engagement letter for that service would be ready. So you can use that utility also, particularly when you are new. Rather than simply copying the earlier engagement letter, you can always try out this utility and it will be very helpful. Then comes the second part, which is the fee negotiation. So I would suggest that we have to be very clear. Please learn to say no. In the sense that when you take the assignment, you assess the scope, you design and you estimate the resources, your own costing, right? So never go below that. You have to be very clear. Don't be guided. Don't be like in a herd where you say that okay, there is someone else who will accept the assignment and I will lose it. I think we all need to come out of that mentality. Probably not only you, but even the medium-sized firms sometimes are afraid of losing the assignment, and that is why they do not negotiate or they don't even ask for the increment or the normal appreciation of the fees. So friends, right from beginning in your practice, never do that mistake of not justifying the fees or simply accepting whatever has been offered. Again, believe me, in the practice, having accepted the assignment, you don't have any option to say no or later on come out with the justification that the fees were not commensurate. Because in the earlier stage, you had a full idea what is the scope and what is the fees. So once you agree, you have to give your best. So then you cannot say that okay, I only because the fees were 50,000, I did like this. You have to be very clear in your engagement letter scope that if these are the fees, this is the kind of the work you are doing. So having accepted the assignment, then after refusal or even resigning half the way may not be a good idea from the viewpoint of your own impression or your practice building actually. Again, you have got many standards like our institute also, there is a minimum scale of the fees, depending on the cities and the kind of the services. And nothing wrong, you can always get the idea from that and make sure that, as per our code of conduct and ethics, you cannot charge lower than what the earlier or the preceding chartered accountant has already charged. So these are the few guidelines and you can have your own idea of the cost and accordingly quote, and never be afraid. It is quite possible the client may not agree. So I would say that, nothing wrong. You should learn. Okay, you wait for some time either, or you be clear. There are all the chances that client may be negotiating. After some time, he may again approach you, or probably he will understand that here is a guy who knows the value, who is going to get delivered. Sometimes we also know, when we know the price are higher, general impression अपने दिमाग में क्या आएगी? We feel that okay, the quality may be good, correct? So that is also equally important for you. That it is not only the fees, and when the client are doing business, they have got various perspectives in the mind. They know very well, like how to get the best, how to get it cheaper. So they may adapt whatever practice, but you have to be very clear on that part, that nothing below this level. Then working papers are very important. As like rightly said that what is not documented is not done. What not documented, what not done. This is very important. And again, document doesn't only mean physical, it can be electronic also. But you have to maintain the log, properly it should be established that yes, this was the work which was done at that time. Any documentation which is created later on to justify can easily be, found out, like forensic, for example. Forensic audit immediately tells that, okay, the documents are created at a later date, they were not done while during the assignment or, something like that actually. So you have to be very careful that we have a, standards of quality control 1, SQC 1, which is very important, that it has all the, like documents which are required, which will include like your own, threat to the assignment, the relationship of the team which is going to do the work, and many other activities which are very good. I would suggest that at least for your good clients or the big assignments, you should literally follow SQC1. And for that matter, friends, what has been done, that you can take the printout. I would suggest that in the initial stage, you can take the printout. It may be 50 pages or 100 pages. Then there is 1 or 2 page, checklist kind of the thing. So you can just, put a mark checklist, yes, no, get them signed. Say for example, rotation of the team, for example, or that none of the team members should have any conflict of interest with the client, which is very important. A practical example, if you have audit of some, let's say, share broker or something, where one of your article or probably his father has a very big large volume, or some data, confidentiality may be in the conflict. So you have to always take a signature from the particular person. And if any such relationship is existing, make sure that that person, be it article CA or non-CA employee, is not deputed for that assignment. Because now the laws are very strict, the confidentiality of data is very important. If any big corporate comes to know that some data was breached or was mishandled, probably it can put you in a great danger. Even if you are not aware, not involved, not benefited. So there are some audit working templates also which have been issued by our board on 3rd July, which will tell you what kind of working papers have to be there. Then again, it is very important that physically we know that probably for every client we need to have a permanent file, one temporary file. The permanent file can be for usually longer period, more than 1 year, which will include your initial appointment, memorandum, basic documents, some agreements of the client, some idea about the organization, some production report and all that. The working paper file would include the work done during that particular period. Like for example, usually if you are deputing the audit, if you talk of then there can be 3 types of working paper. One can be the working paper of the team which is actually going, which will include that the person who has been deputed may mention on date wise what are the work done actually. The second report can be client report. Probably the same thing, but let's say you are deputing 3 persons, then client report will include all the 3 persons report at the same place. So anybody can appreciate that at a particular client place, work has been done by 4 people, 3 people, 2 people, and what work has been done. Then third can be the audit status, which can be like broadly you can mention all the areas which are going to be audited, then month wise, and probably you can mention that who has audited, when completed, queries discussed, solved and all that. So these are all very important for you, that have a practice from the very beginning stage. Then you need to archive the documents, even the retrieval at time. There is a flow also that how you can keep the documentation, how you can archive. And now with the technology and IT, probably you can have the soft copy also. It is also permitted, there is nothing wrong about it, but then make sure that they are actually done, and you should be in a position to demonstrate that those documents were done actually at the time when the assignment was being done, not at a later date. Then another part is the feedback from the client. It's a very good thing. You must have heard that many corporates, when they hire somebody and they fire, or when an employee leaves, and then there is an exit interview. So, and make sure that that interview is not taken by his immediate boss or anybody or, who was involved with it. It's a totally independent and has to be fearless. So that, everybody will be able to do the correct. Similarly, for every client, every assignment, you can have that practice. See, remember, it is not mandatory, it is not legal. But if you have that practice, it will give you idea to communicate with the client. Client will appreciate, okay, here is a form. Who cares that how I have felt, It's not like merely delivering the document and matter is done actually. If you will communicate, interact, you will understand that what are the expectations of the client, and probably though legally you have met the requirement, but where you could not meet his expectation, what better could have been done, or probably client also will appreciate that what things were not done from his part, which prevented you from delivering that result or report. So that will be a very good thing, and there are many tools which are available. If you go to the Google, you can find out like Survey Monkey, Typeform, so which can be used, or it can be a very informal, where you go, take the time, talk to the client or the responsible person who was in charge of that assignment, and then probably we can document also. And again, nothing wrong if you communicate it properly in a decent manner to that person also. So that will also give a good feeling about your this thing. And sometimes it can be a very good milestone that yes, the assignment is now completed, and then accordingly you can raise the bill as agreed, and if it was like a lump sum or a phase wise, whatever. So these are the various feedbacks. So I would say that like basically friends, time has come to review or view the profession just like any other business actually. See, we are not different. We have to operate in a corporate world. We have to deliver as per the expectation of corporate within the given frame of the regulatory, be it ICAI, be it Reserve Bank of India, be it SEBI or whatever. Correct? So if you are working within that framework, then it will be very much required that we understand the corporate psychology, and accordingly we also update ourselves and we also come to that level. Whatever best we can do within that framework, we can always do to justify the given assignment actually. Similarly, whatever knowledge you acquire, for example, in a particular, say for example, you are doing some process audit and you realized that there were some technical issues, or there were some issues which could not be perceived by you, or which could not be properly explained because you wanted some more legal support or some technical expert, or some basic infrastructure was not available at the client place. So that will be helpful when you take any such assignment in future. You will be able to specify from beginning that no, look, I need this, or whether it is available, not available. Accordingly, you can also customize your deliverable or your results. So that will help both way to understand as well as the overall deliverables. So basically, like what are the responsibility program, if you are doing any audit, be it statutory, income tax, internal, whatever, then materiality is again very important, overall audit strategy and all that. And always please make sure that whatever accounting standards, whatever AAS, double AAS, our practices, our like GAAP, SQC1, they are all for your guidance, correct? You have to take the basis of that, but never ever try to overcome or like as told that cut the corner. If you think that something is required, please do it actually. Again, materiality is a very important concept. Unfortunately, many a times professionals are using it in their favor, trying to say that since like it was below materiality, it was not audited. But again, I tell you friends, it is not that simple. You also have to demonstrate that what sampling techniques you used. Did you use some sample to identify that whatever population you are going to do the audit is sufficient, or whether it will give you desired result, or if you had any observation which indicated that the process is not being followed, systems are not being done, then you have to have that kind of the increase. What we call is the timing, nature and extent of the audit process needs to be increased accordingly. Correct? So these are all dynamic process. Only when you are doing the work you will come to know about it. Because unless you actually do the work, you start the work, probably you will be able to estimate only. But the actual execution and the working will depend a lot on your observation. Probably something which was not thought of at the time of initial stage may have to be taken up in a greater depth. If you feel that okay, this is something wrong, or where you are finding more observation, probably you can increase your area, you can increase the size, increase the quantum, and decide and find out some good observation. And again, communication is again very important in a timely manner so that the client can also rectify, or your purpose also, your documentation, proper action is being taken, how it is being taken. Then business angle, as I told you that as a chartered accountant, you need to understand that you are also ultimately businessman. You have to have a very good, profitability at the end of the day. Maybe not first year, second year, but from third year or whatever. And as you say that healthy body is required for a happy mind also, right? So you need to have at least something which will make you happy. So you have to manage the cash flow also, how you are going to plan, how you are going to charge your client. You can define your cycle, billing cycle and all that. And here probably, you can always find out that, there can be a good way, or if possible, try to link the fees with the billable hours. I know in the real life it was very difficult. We all are used with the lump sum fees, negotiation only, for example. Of course, the big firms, they do link with the actual hours and billable hours. But suppose if you are a very, very small level, then you may not be in position to negotiate, because the client will say, how do I know you may depute, 10 people, then you will simply keep on billing. So you have to, break that circle and eventually try to come to a level where you can have some linkage of your revenue with the resources, the kind of the resources, the quality of the resources. Suppose if you are deputing some chartered accountant for 10 days and you are getting the same work done by the article. So obviously your cost is going to differ. The quality will always be there. The difference in the quality will be there, but that you have to prove, you have to justify, you have to bring it on record. So you have to accordingly understand the pattern, drivers, what is the time horizon, what are your goals, eventually where you want to specialize. As very rightly said, that nobody can be, you can be jack of all, but can't be, master of all. So you have to have your core competency and try to focus on that. What you like is more important. Something which you don't like, never do. My advice would be, where you are not comfortable, never do that. Never do anything for the sake of money. If you feel you are more comfortable in audit, if you feel you are more comfortable in internal, if you feel you are more comfortable in consulting, then nowadays there are so many avenues are available. So you can explore. You try to more, sharpen your own skills, and accordingly you can do. Capital, whatever you may be needing, for example, you can take your own capital, take a loan. There are various finances are also available, which you can use for setting up the office. You need some software. Gone are the days where you will be doing the things manually. Now for even small TDS you need a software, for income tax you need a software, for ROC you need a software, correct? So you have to have all such, systems and everything available. Another thing is the human angle, which is very important. So basically, as I told you, it is very important that you are having a sound mind in order to deliver good result. Because our profession is mainly of the mental. See, as we say that we keep on sitting, and that is why there are many, many problems. Usually you will see that typical chartered accountant has a lot of tensions, like what they say in the WhatsApp, it was like going around, and there was a small boy was was asking his mother, कि मम्मा, who is that guy जो रात को मैं सो जाता हूँ उसके बाद आता है और सुबह मेरे उठने से पहले निकल जाता है. तो मदर रिप्लाइड कि बेटा वो तुम्हारे फादर है, वो सीए है. So this is the but never get into that. You have to have work-life balance. Make sure that you give and spare some time for your own, some balancing of the mind, some pranayam, yogasan, activity, gym, exercise, what you want to do, something which is out of other than the profession, sports or reading, whatever habit you have, you can develop, which will keep you in a fit session to keep and deliver it in a perfect manner actually. Otherwise, typically everything, all BP, stress and everything will be there, and probably as stress management is very important now for a chartered accountant, because see, probably this is the only profession where you will be subjected to the questioning maybe after 10 years also. Correct? Because no other profession, be it legal or whatever, usually it doesn't happen. in our project is very common. If you have signed anything, any attestation work, be prepared. That you can be questioned after so many years. Today it may not look a problem at all. Everything will be fine. If something goes wrong, automatically things will be digged into, investigation will go, and then probably it can come to the place like a stock audit report, for example, concurrent audit report of a bank. These are all very very small assignments where like ongoing manner you may not give them a lot of importance, but it is not the thing. Eventually, suppose if anything happen in unlikely event, the same can be a nightmare. So please make sure that you have that proper strategy. You manage your stress level also. Don't get like too much stressed out, because it will affect your life also. And you also owe to your family. You have to have a good society contribution and all that kind of the thing. So friends, these are the basically things which I thought that you can do. And now so you have everything online. So instead of merely just restricting yourself to WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, you can probably also do something which is physically keep you active, and go ahead with that actually. So basically these are the practice, and I think one last topic is just given is the time sheet. So time sheet nowadays you can have a various options available. You can have physical biometrics, you can have the work report coming to you, you can have the groups also, you can have a broadcast group also where you can ask your team to regularly update you. So you understand that what is actually doing, how much time they are actually spending, whether it is going in the desired direction, you are getting the results, evaluate them, train them, redirect them if required, review them. So these are all very very important actually. So that also will help you in your revenue management. Because as I told you, you might have thought that okay, I will send a guy for a week and work will be done, and eventually you end up spending yourself 10-15 days. Obviously it's going to be a costly affair. So you should be aware that actually how much you spend, what went wrong, so that at least if not that assignment, in future you can find out that where you need to improve, either in your quoting of the fees or your execution of the work. Because effectiveness and efficiency both are important. You have to be effective in delivering the result, and efficient in the sense that resources and the timing are very important. These are the only things which are available to you. So make sure that you use them in the best possible manner. And you can also track the performance of your staff, which is very important, because as the like many times said, that you alone cannot do everything. It is always a teamwork. So for the team also you have to be a very good leader, efficient, not only manager, but have all the capacity, dynamic, qualities of leading the team, carry the team with you, convincing them what is to be done, how it is to be done, why it is required. Never ignore even a small, issues or the question that come into the mind of the team. Give them proper answers. That will help you a lot actually. Then finally the billing, which I am sure that you all will love to do, as agreed with the client, and make sure that you get the money also, and so that way probably you can also manage your office, pay the salaries on time, other utilities and all that actually, right? So obviously when you do the accounting, I think you are all expert of that, so nothing much, but you can use the various, because see, sometimes in GST what happens that up to some limit you not be subjected to GST, then you are subjected to GST. So then when you go for the GST, if you have on a receipt basis, that is okay, comparatively easier. For your own purpose, you need to understand how many bills you have raised, how many you have outstanding. So you have to have the mechanism that for GST, even if you are filing on a receipt basis, you need to understand that how many bills you have raised which are outstanding. You can use a lot of software and other small utility programs which will help you in doing that thing. Client management, again very important thing, that see, it is a very very dynamic and the most important part, because you can never take it for granted. Client is, I would say, the only kind of the creature or the entity which you never predict. There are so many dynamisms. There are some professors who will be always going there, telling them different ways, and doing. Like most common example, if you are doing the audit, what people say that it is very easy for a non-audited chartered accountant to go and sell some idea. But the same idea, when you are going to sign the balance sheet, probably you may not agree or you may not appreciate. So you always have to be very clear that what is permitted, not permitted. If you are going to say no, have the proper justification, judgments, the standards, so the client can be convinced that yes, this is not permissible or this is what your opinion. At the same time, be very, very firm that if you feel that things are not going the way it should be as per the regulated framework, have the courage to tell them that look, if this is going, I may have to disassociate with the engagement, and that will help you also. Daily attendance you can have, like biometrics, WhatsApp, like whatever, depending on the size of the firm and the scale of the firm. This will help you in the quality review or the peer review at a later date. But make sure any such attendance can also go against you if you are doing anything in the back date. So please make sure that everything is being done in the correct scheme of the framework. So I think this is all about what was like given to me. If you have any question, please query. So I thank you very much, and it was very nice of you, and wishing you all the best.
If anyone has a question, then please you can. Because I know that when last year we started, sir, this program in the institute, I was there talking with Aniket Bhai, our current president of the institute, and we were in one event of member for the industry. And then I said, sir, it is for the members for industry, whereas we chartered accountant who are in practice, we also need a mentorship. And he said, yes, we'll launch it. So that's how this program was cultivated. So and I also said that when we started practice before 25 years ago, there was no one who mentors us or give us, guidance if there is a client issue or any issue with the department. And to address these things, I'm thankful to you, sir, that you have taken all those issues in your talk. And we are also thankful to our president and central council member Purushottam Bhai that they have immediately accepted this idea and put it in execution as well. So it's better we have a small gathering, you all can ask, and yes, communication, what sir has said, is very much important for all of us. We need to communicate. Whatever, if you have any questions, તમારે કંઈ બી સવાલ હોય તો don't hesitate to ask it. આપણે આપણી બી લેંગ્વેજમાં એને પૂછી શકીએ અને આપણે બી એને બીજાની સામે કરી શકીએ. Because what the problem we are facing, sir, is communicating. કે કોઈ ઇંગ્લિશમાં બોલે છે તો હું ગુજરાતમાં બોલતા અટકાવું છું. But there is આમાં કંઈ પેલું રાખવાની જરૂરત નથી, ઝીઝક જ રાખવાની જરૂર નથી. તો કંઈ પણ પ્રશ્ન હોય, કોઈને પણ પ્રેક્ટિસ સ્ટાર્ટ કરો. So please, we have our faculty here. He can guide you. તમને એની જોડેથી ગાઈડન્સ મળી શકે છે. Anyone, please? Yes.
So I want to ask two questions. Basically, first one is about the staff.
Hello. Audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, I want to ask two questions. So first one is about the staff, that we should have a good team for having a good practice. Okay, so in today's time, retaining a staff is the most important thing for growing up of your practices. Sir, give some knowledge or idea that how to retain a staff, because there is a scarcity. Let me say frankly, there is a much scarcity for that thing, because CAs are a good CAs are already going into the not going into practice. Basically, they are going into the industry in larger sense, and being a staff members who are trained, they go and change the job easily. So this is the main issues.
Yeah. Okay. Very good question. So let me tell you. See, there are two parts. One, our institute. I would always be thankful that we have a system of the articleship, correct? You all were also article. So what happens that even in the new scheme of education, there is a scheme for 2 years of articleship, where 2 years will be dedicated law. See, I would, in my opinion or in my experience, probably the level of the intelligence which you can expect from the article is very high than any other paid, I mean, I'm not comparing with a chartered accountant, but any other paid employee. So what happens, number one, for the articles, you can always treat them in a nice manner from day one, train them properly, educate them properly, have frequent meetings in your office. You can also have, like interactive sessions where you can give your articles a session, time to talk for 5-10 minutes. Say for example, it's a text read session. So involve everybody. Allot them topic that point number 1, close number 1 to 10, 11 to 20. So everybody will see what will happen. In turn they will prepare. Give them 2-3 days. So they will prepare. They will come prepared. They will deliver. So in the process, they will always be able to do that work perfectly. And they will give them motivated. Give them some incentive. You can like say for example the best performance, incentive, or you can keep the quiz, or every meeting or seminar you can have some MCQ and keep some sort of exam and all that. So these things will keep them motivated as well as interested, and they will feel okay, this is something which is helping me. And always keep on telling them that how it will help them in performing improvement in exam. So it is a practical work, because for any article, whatever they will be doing, for example in the office, be it a company law, be it audit, costing, FR, it will be directly related. And we have seen many cases that if they do the work properly, they get good result also. So it is always both the way. So we have to always keep on balancing that part also. So that is one about the article. Another is for the team. We have to, as I told you, need to have a good leadership skills. You need to have proper, balancing. Keep them other than office relationship. Wherever you think the person is a good asset, you can, go out of the way, maintain relationship, have some rapport with his family. Give him some time. You can give him an offer a vacation, for example. Depending upon your size and the scale of the, everything is possible. You don't have to send him to Singapore, for example, every time. You can just send him to a small nearby place like Abu, for example, if they do well, for example. So these all things will create one type of bonding. So I think that's the only way we can keep that, And at the same time, if you feel a person is not deserving, you have to be very clear to fire him. I mean, you can't be always good with everybody. Wherever you feel that something is, not wrong at the other end, you can't go on wasting your resources. So I think that is what I would say.
Thank you very much. As there is a paucity of time and we have a panel discussion as well, we will take all other questions afterwards. So sir, thank you so much for this C. As alphabet C I like is starting from for chartered accountant and client as well. So client engagement, client retention, and continuation of knowledge, development of new strategies, and of course billing to the client. You give us all the insight even on work-life balance as well and stress management. Thank you very much. Please give a big round of applause to sir. And you all are here. I am also available. Sir is also available. You can anytime contact us for guidance. Thank you.